Here with Tom DeAngelis, ABCA Division III Assistant Coach of the Year, Associate Head Coach Baldwin Wallace. Saw you guys in Cedar Rapids, Division III World Series participant, but Seton Hill grad, and then got into coaching at Seton Hill. So thanks for jumping on with me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ryan. And also appreciate everything you guys are doing for college coaches nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about getting announced as Division III Assistant of the Year?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm grateful. I know that much. I'm taken aback. I know plenty of guys that are really good at this profession. So to be named, the top one in Division III, I don't know if that's true, but I'll take it. I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah, and just looking at your path a little bit, you went to Marietta right out of high school.
I did. Yeah, I went there. It was a great experience. I was there for a year. I got recruited by Coach Deegan, who I'm not sure if you know Coach, but
Oh
he's a
yeah,
beast, and he's at Denison. We still talk to this day, and Coach Brewer, obviously, we've become close now. We've been in the same conference for 9 years. I went there. It was just 3 hours from home, so wanted to come back home. My dad and my mom are very important to me. I wanted them to see me play every game.
yeah. I mean, you're in the cradle of Division III baseball there in Ohio. I don't think people from the outside looking in probably don't know how good the Division III baseball is in Ohio.
Yeah, we're every game's kind of a meat grinder. I know that much. But what it does is you get to surround yourself with a lot of great coaches. The guys that I've been blessed to be around growing up, playing for, and now being on the road and competing against. It's been really incredible.
And then what'd you appreciate about being back at Seton Hill then? Getting
Oh
a
man,
chance to be there because I played local, so people that go away, I don't think they really appreciate how nice it is to have your family close.
it was. So it's like 35 minutes. I grew up near the Pittsburgh airport. Seton Hill's in Greensburg. It's about 35 minutes for me if I'm moving pretty good. Far enough where I could go home whenever I wanted to. But far enough that my mom wasn't showing up whenever she wanted. But I love it there. Coach Mayor's Aldi Maz. He's one of my biggest mentors, if not my biggest mentor. He kind of changed my life, so I owe him a lot. And then getting to play for him and then coaching for him, man, I owe him a ton.
Was there much difference between the way Marietta was run and Seton Hill was run?
Yeah, I think every program's different, including, I mean, I've had three incredible coaches I've played for, worked for there, and they're all different. Marietta to Seton Hill to Baldwin Wallace. Coach Harrison, who I'm working with now, is up there with those guys as one of the best. He is my best friend, and I'm sure I know you guys know each other well. I saw you guys talking at the World Series, but he's a beast too. But yeah, all three programs are different. Yeah, there's things that I love about all of them.
Yeah, and you guys got hot at the end of the year. For you guys this year, Baldwin, you guys got hot at the end of the year.
Yeah, we did. I think there's a lot of reasons I think that could have happened. One of them is I think we had some seniors that just refused to let it go. I think they led us in a pretty strong direction. Our shortstop from last year, Alex Lovick, was a 5-year starter for us, holds almost every record. And then Drew Wilson, man, those guys just carried us. And then we had some other seniors that were just great leaders as well. And I think you win late with leaders like that.
And your offense was crazy. I mean, you look at your numbers. Brian and I talked about that in Cedar Rapids. You almost your OPS was almost 1,000. Hit 335 as a team. Was that because you had an older lineup?
I don't know what it was. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. One, Coach Harrison, if anybody knows him, he's like a mastermind at this offense thing. He's incredibly innovative. I'm a hitting guy myself, so we got two meathead hitting guys coaching this whole team. So I hope we hit okay. I don't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger. I just know those guys played really hard, and they kind of bought into what we wanted to do this year, and they kind of put on for us. So it was pretty awesome to watch.
And you guys were using the plyos when I was over at practice day in Cedar Rapids. So Coach Harrison and I talked about a little bit the plyo balls, the heavy balls. You guys were hitting with those. You guys do those every day?
Not every day, but a lot of days. If we're kind of worried about wrists and forearm injuries, if you start hitting those every day, they kind of bang on you a little bit. But we hit them pretty regularly, a couple times a week for sure, and definitely on game day. Game day, it's just if you have to be square on contact to get it, or else it's just going to flip-flop over. So we really believe in those. Our guys bought into them. We started doing them probably about halfway through the year last year. And when we started doing them, we started hitting a bunch of bombs. So we just kind of kept doing it.
So it's fairly new because I know Coach Harrison said he was with his kids and was using the balls with his kids and then started mixing it in with your guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's something that I love about Coach, man. Whatever he'll do, whatever it takes, whatever we have to buy, whatever we have to do, if it's going to help our guys, we'll try it and we'll do it. I mean, we've had every piece of equipment you could want. We've had like 6 different pitching machines. We got the K vest, like the biomechanical breakdown. We got Rapsodo. We got everything. Anything that's going to help, we'll find a way to fundraise for it, get donations, and help our guys.
When will you start introducing that stuff? So like K-Vest, all the equipment that you guys have, when will you start introducing that in the fall with those guys?
It depends. It's just year to year, and kind of like depends on each guy. To be honest, we have many guys that never use it. We have some guys that use it a lot. With the K-Vest blast motion we've used in the past, we don't really use it too much anymore. Our pitchers throw on Rapsodo every time we throw. But in terms of K-Vest, it's kind of hit or miss on certain guys.
And you have the hitting Rapsodo also?
We do not know.
Okay. Because I know their new Rapsodo's new edition has both, so you can just lay it out there. It takes the pitching and the hitting numbers.
No, we don't have that one yet. I'm sure if Coach thinks it's going to benefit us, we're going to get it.
Were you able to take a breather after the year, or did you have to get back on the road?
Yeah, you know what? And somebody else, Coach Fitzgerald at Heidelberg University, he's a close friend and somebody I look up to in this profession. He went to the World Series in 2019. He told me, hey, it takes a little while to get your feet back under you out here. But we were on the road. Yeah, we got right back on the road. You just kind of want to see your friends, to be honest, your friends in the profession. That's part of the fun of this, is being on the road and spending time with those guys. So we got back out there. We were tired and worn down. Our postseason was kind of crazy because it's different at our level. So we shipped out, played our conference tournament at Marietta. We're in a hotel Thursday through Sunday. Get back, we get our bid, and then we ship out to Brockport, and we're in a hotel for another 3 or 4 days. And then we get back, we win that, we go to Endicott, and then we're flying to Endicott, which is different for our guys. It's at our level, we bust pretty much everywhere other than Florida. But we get to Endicott, and we're in a hotel for another 4 days, and you get to the World Series. So it was just a lot, to be honest. But I don't think any of us would trade it for anything else. I know that much.
For you guys, with your recruiting calendar, I mean, how much are you trying to fill out the roster before the summer before?
To be honest, I'm going to answer that a different way. I'll kind of give you our calendar and how we do it. We're fortunate. So at BW, we have an incredible field on campus. We host probably 200 games a summer of local tournaments. We get to see every local team out at near teams and near states. They come and play at our field. So we see probably 200 games there. So usually we'll have one guy at the field working the field, and then I'll be on the road, or Coach Harrison will be on the road. And we'll see games and we'll see showcases all summer. In most years, we'll start visits in August. So we'll start bringing in, so it's going to be seniors in August all the way up through the end of the year, really. But we ideally would get guys to commit by January would be our ideal plan. Doesn't always work that way. We've had some of our best players ever commit in June. So that's our schedule, is visit in August, September, October, apply, get accepted, and then get your financial aid package. Because in Division III, you don't know how much money you're going to pay until those packages come out. So we're kind of at the mercy of that. And those come out in end of November for us. So that's when guys start to make a decision.
Can you get a range before that, or are you kind of hamstrung till November?
No, we do how much they're getting scholarship wise, and then we do a financial aid calculator. So guys have somewhat of an idea. So there is a lot of guys that commit in September, October, if they know this is a spot for them.
Was this a normal size roster for you guys? It looked around 50, 55. Is that normal for you guys for your roster?
I'd say 50 is kind of our normal. Right now we're a little higher. I think we're like 58 or something. We landed a couple transfers, and coming off a good year at our level, guys start to commit at a higher rate. So we yielded a much higher level, a much higher rate than we normally do.
Can you guys take mid-years?
We do. Yeah, we do.
Do you do that often?
I wouldn't say often, but if he's better, if the player is going to help us and help us win, I think our whole team would want to do it. But yeah, it's definitely something we do, especially if it helps the kid out, if he's in a rough situation, and if there's a relationship there, something like that.
So when will you guys get going then this fall with your team?
We got going the first week of school. the way our program's based in the Division III model is we want to get going ASAP so we can get them doing kind of what we ideally want to do. So we started the first week. We're in our last week right now, actually. So this worked out perfectly today because the way we do falls is I think different than a lot of places. I could be wrong, but we do small groups all day. So we'll be with our guys. Me and coach will be at the field hitting with guys from 8:30 until 3. 3:00, we'll get to practice. We'll do our individual defenses, and then we'll inter squad. And that's a typical fall day for us with some team defense, team offense stuff on the weekends. We do that for 4 weeks. And the reason we want to go right when we get back to school is the weight room for us is one of the most important things we believe in. And that gives us more time in the weight room to just absolutely dial in on the weights on the back end of fall ball.
Yeah, because I noticed that about your team. Your team was physical.
Yeah, we love it. We love the weight room. We're pretty upfront in the recruiting process. Like we're going to get after. We try to, hopefully when they're visiting, they see a lot of our guys, they see the bodies. We want to be physical. We want to hit balls hard. We want to throw balls hard. That's just kind of what we believe. And like I said, Coach and I are both kind of meatheads. So we love the weight room.
Are you going afternoon or morning lifting for those guys?
We do. We're fortunate. Our campus is gorgeous. We have a strength and conditioning. T3 Performance comes and does our strength and conditioning. We have great facilities, so we have enough space. We do lifting at 2 to 4 in the afternoon. We practice in the afternoons. We're very fortunate, and for us, where I played at all my other schools, we did early morning stuff, and some people love it, some people hate it. I'm a morning person; didn't bother me one bit. For us, we talk to our guys a lot about nutrition and hydration and recovery. So for us, we kind of feel like that 2 to 4 slot is the best. Let the guys sleep, let them recover a little bit.
Yeah. So, and how hard, once you get going with it, are you getting right after it with them from a programming standpoint with their program with your guys?
In terms of weightlifting?
Yes.
Yeah. So summer coming up, we kind of have the movement base. So I'm into it. So I've studied it, and we have a strength, like I said, a strength and conditioning coach, and we program it out. So they're learning movements. They learn the movement that we need them to learn. And then by the time they get here, we're kind of jumping into it. Now throughout fall ball, it's different, right? Pitchers will lift at different times than hitters, just based off their throwing schedule. Hitters are lifting twice a week during fall ball. And then once it's after fall ball, it's pretty hard go time. And it's not only weight room. Another thing that we do post fall ball, because in Division III, you have to be hands off. Yeah. So Coach Harris and myself, none of our coaches can be with these guys. So there's plus and minuses to it. One, the guys take incredible accountability for it. Right? If one of the words, Coach, we use 3 words to describe our program, and one of them is invested. We talk about a lot. Our guys are incredibly invested. So after fall ball, they have a bat speed program they're doing. They have a sprint program they're doing. We have win reality. They have to see we want them to see a certain amount of pitches on win reality a week, and then the weight room. So you're staying busy just because we're hands off. These guys are they know exactly what they want to be doing. It's pretty cool because they get to take that on themselves.
So the movement stuff you send them in the summer, does that have videos with it, or is it just hard copy stuff?
Yeah, it's all on your phone anymore. It's incredible. It's called the Vici app's what we use. So hey, you wake up, this is your warm up, this is your movements you're doing. Click it, you can see the movements, you can type in your weights. The other thing we do is our pitchers more so. They track their sleep, they track their arm soreness each day. So you can follow it throughout their 4 years. Not only how much they're putting up in the weight room, but where's their body weight, how's your hydration, how's your sleep.
Your bat speed.
We're really passionate about the weight room.
Love it. I am too. Your bat speed program, did you guys handwrite that yourself, or did you get a template from somebody?
Coach Harrison did. Coach Harrison did.
Walk us through everything with the bat speed program.
It's pretty standard. It's nothing crazy. It's just more of the intent behind everything you do. So we swing heavy things, we swing light things, we swing lefty, we swing righty, we swing on one foot. We do it all, and it's all programmed out. But it's more so just the going all out on each swing is where you get the results. They have speed trackers that you can see how fast you're swinging, not a radar gun, but like an actual bat speed tracker. And we use that. And to be honest, we dove into that pretty heavy last year, and we set a school record for bombs. So I don't know, it could be all encompassing, but that definitely helps.
Of all the new stuff that you're using, what would you have liked to have had as a player?
Oh, that's a great question. We did a lot of like front toss and like we had an iron mic at Seton Hill that I used a lot that I liked. I think if I would have had a hack attack and somebody to feed it just so I could hit that velocity on an everyday basis would have been incredible.
And the
The
breaking
machine,
ball too, like the two-wheeled machines that you used back in the day, it didn't give you much variability on the breaking ball. You were basically seeing an 80 grade slider off the
yeah,
two. If they were going to set the slider up, it was going to be an 80 grade slider. So at least
yeah,
now with the three-wheeled machines, you can tinker around with it. So it's not going to completely crush your ego every time you have to
it's
face it.
it's funny you say that. I remember being in college, and this is a while ago now. Me and my roommate were walking down individuals, and Coach Maz is down there, and he pulled out the A-Tech, the two wheel, and has it on the field for our indies, and we're like, man, I want to go back to the room. I do not want to go through this. That thing diced us up, and he was a first baseman too. And Coach Maz would use it for picks, and we still talk about it to this day. Him just getting eaten alive by that thing back then. You're so right. Those breaking balls were nasty.
It's just we had one guy on our team and we could hit, but Jamie Carroll played 11 years in the big leagues. He was the one guy that could even like foul pitches off. So like you knew he was a
Yeah,
good hitter because it wasn't even squaring pitches up. It was just actually just nipping the ball at times.
right.
So,
Yeah,
what else from a defensive standpoint then are you trying to get done with these guys? Because you do more individual stuff. What are
we
you trying to
do.
get done with them?
Yeah, we do. So we're incredibly fortunate. So Coach Harrison and myself are only two staffed coaches, but we coaches build a culture up where guys want to be a part of it. So we have a ton of local volunteers, mostly alum, and then a couple of local older guys or guys that want to help out that stick around and help. So we're able to break it off where I usually take the infielders. We have an outfield coach. It's usually either Coach Canodal, he played for us, or Coach Turlip, and then we have a catching coach, and we have a first base coach as well. So we kind of all just take our guys for about 45 minutes and dive into them.
Yeah, you guys have more like a pro ball set up there with how you're
We
setting
do,
things up with that.
yeah. We're really fortunate. The My first couple of years here, we didn't have that, where it was just me. It was more just me and coach, and I try to run defense, and it was really difficult, to be honest. Our guy, it just bang some ground balls, bang some fly balls, call it a day. And then really over the last 3 or 4 years, we've really dove into defense, and we set the school record. I know fielding percentages and everything, but I'm proud of our fielding percentage last year. We set the school record.
So you have a long day, but then you get a break though in the evenings, because
You do, but you don't. So we're usually at the field from 8:30 till about 7 because
okay,
our practices are so let's say 3 to 4 we do defense, and then we're playing a 9 inning inter squad after that because we got to get our arms out there. We got to see our guys compete, kind of stay out of their way. But it's a long day, but this is what we love to do.
yeah.
I mean, we love this. So
How are you setting your 9 inning inter squads up? Is it straight baseball, or are you guys mixing it up?
we do. Excuse me, I get a drink. We do. For the most part, it's straight baseball. We do some things in between innings. Something I took from Coach Maz back in the day. We'll steal bases rather than just having them balls in coming down. We have a guy steal bases. Pitchers working on picks, and then we'll also do some bunts after. So you get the third out. Hey, stay there. Guy on first. We'll do one bunt. So not only are hitters actually getting live bunts, we're getting live defensive reads off it as well. I think bunting, and I don't know how it is for everybody else, but we're usually pretty terrible at bunting. And we work on it a ton, just off machine and everything. And then last year we were very successful with our sack bunts. And I think a big part of that is just adding those to the back end of innings.
The hard part is a lot of kids don't work on it before they get to you. So it's a brand new skill for them. They're learning a brand new skill that they really haven't worked on before. It's tough when they get to that
Sure.
point. They're 18 or 19 years old and they really haven't worked on it much. It's going to be a tough skill. They can develop it, but it's a tough skill to develop.
Right, for sure.
So how long your arms then, when you lay it out in 9 inning, how long are your guys going for the 9 innings pitching wise?
Great. I'm glad you asked that. So we changed it this year. In the past, it's been like 1 inning and then maybe 1 inning twice a week or something, and then a bullpen. It's different for everybody, right? Everybody has a different calendar. We have some guys that pitch in the summer, some that train in the summer. So it's very individualized. But this year we switched to anybody who's throwing live, they're throwing 3 innings. You're going to get through those 3 innings. I think we got jaded last year. Guys would throw a good inning and then walk two and give up a bomb and be like, I did all right though. I got that one good inning. So now if you can't get through 3 innings, you're not going to pitch. And that's something we switched to this year. And to be honest, we're pitching it very well. So hopefully, knock on
Yeah,
wood,
that
we
was
keep that
one of
rolling.
my biggest. I didn't do a good enough job with that of making the fall for the pitchers a little bit more like what they were going to see in the spring. Because again, you're
Yeah,
trying to take care of guys' arms a little bit, but then it's like, okay, you're hurting development wise, and forcing them to push through things too. I think is the biggest part of that.
yeah. We just put that in this year, so we're hoping to reap the benefits. We didn't throw strikes at a high enough level last year. I think we were up there for strikeouts in the country and up there for walks. I think we were in the top 10 for walks. So that was something we're really trying to dive in on.
And then when will you ramp things up for them coming springtime after the winter?
For the arms,
Yeah, for everybody.
so our hitters are working. They don't really stop. Now we'll put the bats down for like a 2-week deload after the bat speed program where we're just deload.
When's the bat speed program end for them?
It's like it's 12. It depends. It depends each year, but anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks. So they're just grinding away at it. It's not long. Like it takes 10 minutes to do. Like get your lift in, go do this bat. We don't hit balls while we do it. You're focusing on your swing, like
Yep.
just moving this bat fast. So that's like 12 to 16 weeks. It depends each year. But the pitchers, we've also changed that each year. Some years we've shut them down for a month. Some years we've tried to keep throwing through it. Some years we've long tossed. Some years we've done pull down. So I'm telling you, man, we've tried everything. Coach Harrison's one of the most innovative baseball minds I've ever heard of or been around, and we've tried it all.
Yeah,
I don't even think we know what we're doing yet with our
well,
guys.
that's a science-based. That's a science-based thing. You're always gonna tinker around with it because it's always,
Right.
even though the kids are probably the same, baseball's kind of the same, but that's the part that's evolving for all of us is that piece of it. So there is some science, some trial and error to all of that. That hey, this might work, so you might as well throw it. I love the fact that you guys are willing to say, hey, let's try it and throw it out there because I think that's the key to being a good coach and evolving as a coach is trying new things as there's new things.
For sure. I think part of being a successful coach is just surround yourself with the right other coaches and learning from them, picking their brains, whether it be the convention or whether it be just making a phone call and reaching out to people or just networking with people. I think that's a big part of this. I mean, a lot of the stuff we do, we've taken from somebody else. I know that much. Probably the majority of our stuff. So.
Any drills early on that you did a lot that maybe you've gotten rid of now?
That's a great question. Oh man, I'd have to think about that for a while.
Or is it always something that might still be in play at some point? I mean, that was
For
a thing
some,
that was a thing for me. It was like, okay, that might be something that we did a long time ago, but you see somebody needs it, and it's like, okay, let's tinker with it and throw it out because it might work.
That's exactly it. I think it's all. I think you always try to keep them in the toolbox, and if there's a guy that needs it, you bust it out. I think that's kind of how I feel. I don't know if I'm trying to think of something that we just did that we're like never do that again. I don't know if we have anything like that.
Yeah. You have a warm up sequence for them when they're swinging, or that I mean, especially with like the bat speed stuff, they've already lifted, so they're loose, right? So they probably don't need a whole lot of warm up to get to there. Right?
We love heavy med balls. We chuck the heck out of heavy med balls. That's a big part of the warm up. Each year is different. It's year to year. This year, we have them doing some dry stuff to kind of prime the body to move right. That's kind of what we believe in right now. So that's what we did this fall.
Which heavy med ball tosses are you having them do?
We do them from a stance. We do them from like a step back. We do them from like a walk through. We'll go like feet together, stride and toss it. But everything's at max velo.
I like scoop toss too.
Scoop.
I think
we
scoop's great for getting them to feel. We would do scoop toss with the core velocity belts on to get them to feel loading into their back hip.
Yeah, we actually use a Vertimax, but it's the same thing as a core velocity belt. We use it from the front, and we hit with that a lot for the same feel you're talking about. We believe in that too.
You use it in the cage with the Vertimax, or you use it on the field? Use it on the field also?
Both, yeah. We'll use it both. It gets beat up a little bit, but we think it helps, so we're going to keep doing it.
What are some of the better routines you've seen your guys use? I'm talking like in-game, warm-up, on deck. What are some of the better routines you've seen guys use?
Yeah, it's something we actually just talked about it the other day. It's something that we talk about a lot is see it, feel it, do it. That's what we want our guys to go through. See it, feel it, do it. So maybe in the hole, once the helmet goes on, the mouth gets shut and we're locked in. That's kind of your see it, where we're visualizing ourselves having our best hit. So everyone's different. My best hit was a line drive up the middle at the pitcher, right? So that's what I want to see myself doing when I'm visualizing. Feel it is what feel do I need to be? What feel do I need to do in the on deck circle to make my body prime that movement? And that's different for everybody. And then do it is just when you get in the box ready to hit. We don't want to miss the pitch down the middle. We know that much.
What about releases for when they're done?
Don't have many, to be honest. I couldn't tell you. It's not something we really talk about. We talk about in the past. We've talked about like green light, yellow light, red light, and if you feel yourself getting close to that red light, a little deep breath here, and get back to yellow light. That's something we've talked about. But in terms of releases, we haven't really talked too much about.
How do you handle when guys get frustrated? It's not like every at bat's going to go good. How do you handle it with guys when they get frustrated?
Yeah, I think we want to be more. I think you got to be more proactive in that than reactive. Like, prepare them before the season. Like, hey, this isn't going to be easy. You're going to fail. We're going to fail. We're going to face adversity. This is how we're going to go at it. Rather than, hey, you see a guy struggling and you're trying to be nice to him so he feels better about himself. I don't think we're in that business. I think we're more in like, hey, man, we're going to go through this. This is going to be really hard. But guess what? We're going to grind through it. We'll get through it.
I mean, that's part of developing a winning culture, too, is like handling the adversity piece of it and prepping.
Right.
I think that's the thing that maybe people get sidetracked with a visualization standpoint is because they only view like things going good. Well, that's never going to happen in a baseball game. You have to deal with seeing yourself getting out of when things are tough.
Right. Absolutely. And that's something I think we did a good job of addressing last year prior to the year is that exact thing. And I think that played a big part for us.
How are you guys handling scouting reports?
To be honest, we use 643 charts. We use Synergy, which not a lot of teams yet have at our level, but the ones that do, we love it.
Game changer.
We love it. We love it for our guys. And then Coach Hagan, he's been with us for 9 years now. He's a volunteer. He's a pitching coach, played at Worcester. He played pro ball. He handles the most of the planning of the other hitters. And then we watch video on the pitchers, basically, is kind of the extent of it.
What's your advice for new guys getting into this? I mean, you're well versed in a lot of different things. What's your advice for some young guys trying to get into it?
I don't feel like I'm an expert enough to give advice to anyone. What I would say is just be incredibly grateful. Just be incredibly grateful for this opportunity. It's these players, man, they do everything. So they leave in the summer. I don't see them all year. And honestly, I go through a funk each summer by the end of the summer. I'm just ready to get going, ready to get back with these guys, man, and just be grateful for the opportunity. It's a word we use within our program. Like I said, we use invested, assertive, grateful. Those are our 3 words. And I would say just be grateful for this opportunity.
With having that many games on your field in the summertime, how'd you guys handle COVID recruiting then?
That was tough. Now we were able to host though, so our school still let us host. We just had to do some things at the field to kind of make it COVID friendly, like spray down dugouts in between games, wear masks, all that. So we were still able to host, to be honest. So I think we might have actually lucked out of it all.
Do you guys get to keep the money with your field rentals? That go back into the program? Does it go to the university?
It's a lot of it's back to the program. That's how we're able to fundraise to pay for, all these machines that we have, all this technology we have. We have a great administration. We have a great athletic director that kind of see Coach Harrison's vision and helps us out tremendously.
So because you guys like the weight room, when you start playing, does it adjust much for you guys? Or are you trying to hammer it during the season in the weight room?
We do, and I'd say we have like 2 different with 50 or so guys. We have 2 different buckets of guys, right? We have your everyday guys, your guys that are playing, and we want them to be in there twice a week. We want you to be in there. I'm a believer in it makes you feel better rather than more sore, and it tells you like just get you right. I also think there's like a confidence thing too. When I get a pump in and I think when players get a pump in, they just feel better. They're ready to go, chest up, like they're more confident. So we want to lift twice a week. Our like development guys or guys that aren't getting as much time, we want them in 4 days a week.
So, and
So
that game day too. I mean, you okay with a game day lift?
some of our guys do, some of our guys don't. That's kind of
I love game day lifts.
On each guy. Yeah, that's on each guy. I'm kind of indifferent, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because our game days, and I'm sure you obviously know, but playing up north, our game days are brutal, these doubleheaders. So we get there like 9:30, 11, 10:30, 10:45 BP, and then you're there till 7 o'clock at night, man. It's freezing cold. Like, if you want to get up and lift before that, you can. If not, I'm not going to tell you to. Yeah, those are long days.
It's just the cold, that's the thing. It's the cold takes it out of you. I know if it's 80, doubleheader is still a lot. It's just the cold. Your body is trying to regulate itself from a temperature standpoint. And I didn't really get as sore as a player, but as a coach, man, I could feel the doubleheader days when you're out there in 20, 30 degree weather. Like, it took a lot out of me as a coach.
Did you guys have heaters in your dugouts when
we
it was
did?
Cold?
Luckily, not every place we went to did, but luckily we had some propane heaters that were good. But not every place you'd play at had them, so there were some rough days out there.
Yeah,
Summit League, especially with the places we'd go. You'd go to North Dakota, South Dakota, Fort Wayne. You were going some places where it was going to test you a little bit from a weather standpoint.
I bet we're fortunate. We have propane. We bring little propane heaters in the dugout at home, so we do have that. And then we bring a coffee pot with us everywhere. I think we talked about that at the World Series. We, like you said, you love C4, man. We love coffee, and we drink coffee during the games. That helps keep us warm as well.
Yeah, that was Spanky McFarland, my boss at James Madison. We'd be in some warmer weathers. He'd be crushing coffee during games. I'm like, man, Spank, I just can't. I can't, man.
Yeah. That's we ended up a couple of years ago. Coach got tossed from a game. He's like, hey, man, we got to switch to decaf in the second game is doubleheader. I'm too wired up. So we go half calf now.
I would have to urinate a lot. I would, my system, it was a lot anyway. But if I started pounding coffee, I'd miss half the game being in the bathroom.
It's fair. That's a good point. That happens, but
if you could go back and do anything different, I always like asking this. Do you have a fail forward moment? Do you have something that, looking back now, you thought was going to sidetrack you, but it was one of the best things that happened to you?
Yeah, I do. And it's something we talk about a lot. So 2020, this was 2022, 2021 season, I think we were extremely talented. This is something me and Coach talk about a lot. And I felt like we let them down. We let things slide that we normally wouldn't. We just kind of thought, hey, we got older guys that are better, because we had a bunch of fifth-year seniors that have been here starting for 3 years. And we kind of let down our guard, and after the year, man, it was a punch and a go. We lost in the first round of conference tournament, and we were just disgusted with ourselves, especially after 2020, the season getting canceled. You're so excited to get back, and we felt like we let our guys down by not getting to our roots and our core values. And then flip side, we addressed the heck out of it last year. I mean, we talked about everything. We made sure we covered our bases. And then whether that's why we made a good run at the end of the year, or whether we just had talented guys again, I don't know, but we didn't leave it uncovered. And I think that was a tough pill to swallow after 21, looking in the mirror, both Coach and I, and just being like, man, I think we might have let our guys down. We let some things slide we shouldn't have, and we addressed it and had a good year last year. So that was a good question. I haven't really looked back at it like that. So
what's the refresh accountability-wise? Because I think as all coaches, that happens. Like, not that you don't trust your players, but you take some things for granted. What were some things that you guys had to readdress?
Just getting back to our core values, making sure our guys were grateful for everything we had. We're incredibly fortunate here. We have a great situation. Making sure we were incredibly invested. And the one thing we did, and it sounds incredibly elementary, we just wanted to play hard. I think in 21, we had a bunch of fifth-year guys, and we knew they were good players, and we kind of let them not play as hard. We got away from doing what we do. And that's something we talked about a lot last year. Every game, we're going to play hard, and we're going to want it more.
Hey, when you say play hard, because I mean, what shows you that guys are playing hard?
It's everything. It's locked in the dugout, whether we're trying to tip pitchers, whether it's sprinting to first base every play, whether it's every dirt ball locked in, whether it's it's just all the little things, not taking those for granted. That's playing hard. We're not a big eye wash, like sprint on walks or anything like that, but we anything we can do to get a free 90 or win a baseball game, we want to be doing.
So how do you address that in the fall then with them? Because it's not like it's going to happen every rep, but how do you address it? If somebody skips a 90 rep, like how do you address it with them?
Be verbal, loud, To be honest, and something else we want to do is we want to get back to having more of a positive environment. So we try to, instead of correct people, we try to see the guys doing the right things and make a mention of that. Like guy stretches a gap ball, guy stretches a single into a double. Let's address it. Let's make sure everybody sees this just happen. Guys want to get rewarded. Guys,
that's why we tracked points. I mean, we gave them a list of what they were going to get tracked on in practice, inter squads, in the weight room. And their time to first base was one of them. So they knew they were getting points for running hard to first base. So like that was the thing that took care of a lot of that, is that, okay, they knew they were going to get timed on their home to first times. So they knew they were going to, it was on them. Like we put it on them. You talk about being positive. That's a positive thing. Like, hey, this is on you. Like if it's not that important to you to get points, but by the way, this is going to write our lineup. Our points leaders, this is who's writing our lineup. So it was an easy conversation to be like, hey, this is on you. Like, we want you to run hard. We're going to give you points for that. So really it's on you if you want to do it or not. And again, if you don't do it, that's on you.
Yeah, I love that. They did that when I was in Marietta. Coach Brewer that was one of my jobs when I wasn't playing, was tracking that. And I love that idea.
I mean, you are big work. So what are your routines? Are you lifting when they're lifting? What are your routines? You like to get out?
It just depends on the time of the year. Right now, I'm trying to get in the morning for a quick one before those long days. That's pretty much. I like to lift and I like to work out in the morning. And if I'm feeling really ambitious, I'll lift again with the guys in the afternoon. But
any cardio
in the morning? No.
I'm not a big cardio guy. I'm not. I look like it, but I'm not. I do not like.
No, I'm not. We play racquetball. That's my cardio. Me and Coach, we play racquetball. I love racquetball.
Anybody who had to play for my dad and brother in college is not a huge runner after college because of the punishment that you got in college because of those two.
Yeah. I've never been a runner. I actually, I got some stories, but I keep them to myself. I got some funny running stories. But
when you got in, was getting into coaching, was that always the thing for you at Seton Hill? Did you know when you were going to be done that you were going to get into coaching?
Oh man, I knew I wanted to. I didn't know if the opportunity would arise. I remember. So for me, it's being a transfer. I had to go to school. I had to finish my internship after the last semester, so I couldn't hop right into it. It worked out where they at the time Seton Hill had 2 GAs. And the hitting GA was done a year after I was done. So I did an internship for a year, and I remember.
What was your internship?
I sold cell phones at Verizon.
That'll get you out of the real world real quick.
It will, and it was the worst because that was before smartphones were like a thing. So you'd be talking to a grandma and an older lady, and you'd be like, "Hey, you need this smartphone." And she'd be like, "I don't think I do," but So I was like, "Man, I need to get back in the dugout." But no, Coach Maz called and offered me for the following year, and I was ecstatic. And ever since then, I know this is what I want to do.
What were some things that stuck out that first year coaching that you probably didn't think about as a player?
Oh, that's a good question. First things first is the ability to separate. You're just got done playing with these guys, and then you got to hop in the dugout and coach them and lead them. And Coach Maz was incredible the way he delegated. So I was a 22-year-old hitting coach, and I handled all the hitting. He didn't come into individuals. He didn't come around. He let me take that by the bull, and it was incredible. And then our pitching coach was a 22-year-old pitching coach. He's now the head coach at Gannon University. His name's DJ Cannon. He's one of my closest friends to this day. But he let 2 22-year-olds take all the development on, and we ended up going to a regional championship, 1 game away from a World Series in 13, and went to a World Series in 14. What was the first question?
How were those conversations? Because I jumped into it with guys that I was playing too, but I didn't have that much responsibility. It was kind of bits and pieces. How were those conversations where you're taking over the hitting with those guys that you played with?
I think the one thing that helped, I think I had success my final year there. I had a good year, put up some good numbers. So I think guys trusted me. I think I would consider myself one of the we didn't have captains, but I was one of the leaders. I felt like guys liked believing in me and trusting in me. And I think that kind of helped a lot. But it was difficult, that's for sure. It took some learning, but by the end of it, I think we had built pretty good relationships, still stay in touch with majority of those 2013, 2014 guys.
Is there anything you wish you would have known before you got into it?
Coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, there's some things. There's some things you definitely wish you would have known, but nothing that I would say would have pushed me away from doing it. How about that? But no, you miss some things that you don't really want to miss. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to go stand at a baseball field and watch hitters tomorrow for 8 hours. So it's a pretty good day.
How long did it take you and Coach Harrison to develop the relationship that you guys have?
Man, he's the greatest. So I ended my GA, and there was no more full time. There was no full time spot there. Coach Maz sent out an email, and Harry just we met each other on the road once or twice, but on sight unseen, he said, "Maz, you got a guy you like? Send him up. Let's go." I came up, and our interview was we went to Maya and we ate chips and salsa and tacos, and then I was here like 2 weeks later, and then we've been best friends since then. To be honest, he's incredible. I'm so thankful for my 9 years here.
Your guys' hitting philosophy similar? You guys have some differences?
I think originally we did. I think we did right off the bat, and now I'd say we're hand in hand. We both work with hitters every day, so there'll be a day where he's with the guy, and then I'll be with him the next day, and then he'll be with them. And it's like a 50-50 split of we're working with every guy, and I think we're pretty hand in hand. Coach spoke at the convention in 2016. And I remember that was one of the times where we spent maybe 40 hours working on that presentation. And I think that's a time that was like early in our relationship where we kind of really got on the same page. And I got to see kind of how brilliant he is. And I just wanted to believe in what he's telling me.
It's amazing when you have to put a presentation together, how much it makes you clarify what you're teaching and coaching.
It sure
That's
is.
the best thing about having to give presentations or go to clinics and talk or even work camps, because it forces you to clarify the things that you're teaching.
It sure does. And yeah, it really does. That kind of made us get us all on paper and be like, hey, there's going to be a lot of people watching us. We better make sure we're on our stuff here. We better make sure we're think we're right. One of my close friends, his name's Kyle Lindquist. We're really close. He's the AAA infield coach with the Indians. He had to present when he was at Davidson. He's like, man, I thought I had this stuff locked up, and until I presented it, I really didn't. So he's the one that kind of put me on to that and helped me get my stuff on paper too. So
what were some of the things that maybe you and Brian didn't, not that you disagree, but maybe didn't see eye to eye on now that maybe you guys have come together on with hitters?
I think I think if you were to ask him, he'd say he wouldn't agree with some of the things we both thought in 2015 to now. Like we're way different in what we believe in now than what we did then. One of the things that I was big on was more so like attacking first pitch and just being ready to go. And and he was more big on pitchers getting to 100 pitches on the other team. And that was but if I off the top of my head, that was the first thing.
Yeah, that's hard to do because if you're facing a guy that's pouring it in there, you need to be ready to go. But if you're facing a guy who's struggling, then, that's the flow of the game piece. That there's no black and white with that. It depends on who's on the mound. So you're gonna have to adjust on the fly with that.
For sure, and I think it's just coming from a different program. I only knew what I knew, and this is why I believed what I believed, and he had what he believed. And over the years, we've kind of morphed into what we believe instead of what each of us believes separately.
Did it take you much time to find your voice then? You got thrown right into the fire then. Did it take you much time to find your voice as a 22-year-old?
At Seton Hill or BW?
At Seton Hill.
No, I don't think so, to be honest. If anything, and I don't know how this is for everybody else, I felt like I knew more at 22 than I do at 32. I don't know if that's how everybody else is in this profession, but I thought I knew everything. Yes. I mean, I look back at some of the things we were doing. I was like, man, that was dumb. I wish I could have went back and helped that guy better. And now you look around, there's so much information everywhere. And I'm sure it's the same for kids. There's just so much information everywhere. You start to question yourself a lot, man.
Yeah.
But no, at the time.
I mean, how do you do that? I think we all went through it. How do you get to that trust where it's like, okay, I know there's a lot of info out there, but I do trust what I'm doing right now?
I don't know if we ever do trust. I think we just do what we think's best, and then we see if it works. And if it works, we stick with it and we keep going with it. If we see something that screws up, then let's go to the next thing. Let's try something else. I think we're all like, I think we all just kind of throw stuff at the wall and see if that's what the one that sticks. You know.
Besides bunting, what would be some other things you'd like to see with some of the guys that are getting into the program that maybe they don't have?
Just the bodies. We track it each year, and it's a 15-pound weight gain each fall. It just puts you, and it doesn't bother me. It just puts you at a disadvantage when you're coming in there in a fall and you're competing against 23-year-olds and you're 17. You haven't been in a weight room. It's not. It is what it is. I think it's better to not move poorly in a weight room at 17 and then get here and learn how to move correctly. But if guys got proper training in high school, I think that'd be incredible.
And what were some of the movement-based things that stuck out to you when you first got into studying it?
Most of it, to be honest, was just that Zach chant at TCU, his movement over max. That was a big part of it. Just the hinges, the squats, the presses, the row, the pulls. Basically work off those 4 basic movements. That's kind of where we start off of.
And it's the great thing is there's still a lot of room for growth in that industry, because Tracy Hayes was on the podcast with me a while ago, and she's kind of pushing the forefront here on the movement stuff. She's going to be on the strength and conditioning hot stove with us, so I'm interested to see what she's going to bring to the table.
We're fortunate. One of our in 2018, we had a 4-year catcher. His name's Trent Kaltenbach. He graduated, and he's actually the AAA strength and conditioning coach in Columbus as well. So he's a great resource. We bounce a lot off of him. It's incredible. And then we have a lot of PTs that have graduated from here that are doing great things in the physical therapy realm. So I know we go to them a lot if we have some questions with pitchers or hitters or movement-based stuff as well. So we have great resources.
Yeah, and that's part of reaching out to the resources that you have too. There's a lot more out there for you than you think if you do that.
You just got to ask. Yep.
Young hitting coach getting into it, where would you have them dive into? Maybe things that you feel like would help them right now, because there is so much information out there. Like if you're going to point them in 2 directions to look at stuff, where would you point a young hitting coach to?
One, if you can get on Synergy, or if you can get on like Baseball Savant and you can just watch as much as you can, I think that's number one. Like just watch and watch and watch and watch, and then build your beliefs off of that, or get to know people you think are successful in this. I think that's where I would start, is surround yourself with people that you feel are really knowledgeable. And then honestly, Twitter gets a bad rap, but I watch a ton of like GIFs of hitters on there. I like to hear everybody's opinions and take it in. I think that if you use it the correct way, you can gain a ton of knowledge off Twitter, in my opinion.
That would have been my biggest thing for once out of especially the high school and even some of the junior college hitters, was figuring out when they need to start. Like when they need to start moving. I don't think they get enough prep work on that, high school, junior college, of when elite guys move, because it's a lot earlier than what people think. That was our presentation in 2016. That was coach's timing. So if everybody wants to learn, go ahead and watch jump back into the video. Jump back into the video library. That's probably that's the best resource we have, is the video library.
Yeah, I love it.
For anybody that wants to learn, there's so many different things on there now. Like it's a wealth of information in there. You can get lost for a while, but
me and Coach, we both dive into it. So I usually dive into it in August just to get the brain going. Like, hey man, what are we gonna do this fall? And then in January we do the same thing. It's funny, we had I have text conversations of us going back and forth in August and January each year. Yeah. Just going back and watching the old ones.
What are some of your favorite old presentations? Which ones do you like to go back to?
The one that in Kai Correa, that's like what most of our infield stuff's based around. I've had the pleasure to meet Kai. He's really close with Coach Lindquist. He's connected us. That's probably my top. And then obviously Matt Tallarico is a beast. He's a friend of ours. He was at Dayton after Coach Harrison was at Dayton, so we became friends. I'm trying to think. There was John Malley. He did a hitting one that sticks out in my head. There's so many.
The pro guys, that was always refreshing when the pro guys would get on theirs, because they just kept everything so simple.
Yeah.
They just keep it simple.
I mean, there's so many. It's overwhelming when you try to think back on just the couple that you loved, because there's so many good ones each year. So many good ones.
What are some final thoughts, or something I should ask you that I didn't?
I don't know. I've never done this before, so I don't know what you normally ask people. To be honest, I'm just incredibly grateful to be here and excited to talk to you and honestly just get to know you more too as well. So
Heck yeah! All right, I appreciate it. I'll see you in Nashville.
yeah, you will.
Yep, you're on
And
the
hopefully
stage
back
now.
at
You get announced. Get in
I gotta
front
get
of
a new
everybody.
suit, man.
Yep.
I gotta get a new suit.
Love it. All right, appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a good one.